Very good, friends. Doc South here, and well, I did a recent video. I touched on the topic of what fun it was back in Chester, back in the 50s and well, early 60s when we'd get a snow day. Later in life, snow days weren't always so much fun. When I moved from Chester and lived up in the mountains of north central Pennsylvania, frankly, snow days were kind of rough. I worked then as a boiler maker and a boiler consultant on the big ones, yeah, the big boilers. And a snow day meant, yeah, maybe everyone else had a snow day. I had to get down to the boiler shop or to a factory or installation, whatever, to see what was up with their boiler that was on the fritz in all this cold weather. So, yeah. Uh, it's funny how how the whole scene changes when you're a grown-up. But when you're a kid, oh my, oh my. Boy, I'll tell you, you'd hear that fire siren ring. I think it was 7:15 in the morning in Chester, New Jersey. If it rang, that meant school, forget it. Yeah, everybody go back to bed. Well, we didn't. I would snag a fast breakfast, or maybe while mom's scrambling the eggs, I'm getting the sled ready, checking the runners for rust, any signs of corrosion, because that would cost you precious miles per hour on your run down the hill. And so I think we got Simonized, and we'd wax the runners with Simonize. And then one year I got this toboggan. Yeah, a toboggan, and I think actually got, I think the stuff you use to wax down bowling alleys, if I recall right. It was some kind of wax. I don't think it was ski wax. I never thought of getting ski wax. You think I would have, but it was. I think I may have borrowed some of Mom's glow coat. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I told her about it. But yeah, and you'd rub that all over the wood of the sled, and of the toboggan. Of course, my toboggan had a big hole in the front. You know where a toboggan curves up. Yeah, we hit an underground pipe on our run up over at Guerin's Hill, and that's where we'd go, Guerin's Hill. Now, I lived on Main Street, kind of at actually the highest point of Main Street in Chester, if I recall right next to Serby's gas station. There was what you would do is you'd cross Main Street, which was Route 24. No problem there because quite honestly, there's hardly anyone on the roads. So you'd cross over. You had to be careful because the roads were just plowed. And a lot of the snow was packed down, so you could slip. If my kid brother Ed was with me, he'd have to be careful with him. He was like 6 years younger, so if I was 11 or 12, he was 5 or 6, something like that. But he wanted to come along too, and what the heck? And you'd get to you'd get across the road, but then you had to climb up a little embankment. Excuse me. It seemed like a big embankment to us, but we were short. Yeah, it was about 6 foot or so. You get up that, yank the sleds up, and then you had to trudge across a field with the wind at your back. The wind at your back, howling wind, I might add. It was wind that had nothing to stop it. It hit Schooley's Mountain, which we could see in the distance, about 5 or 6 miles away. It's funny. I used to look at those mountains, never realizing I'd live on them at one time. Later in my life, but you could see them off in the distance, and then there was nothing but a valley, and the wind would just hit Schooley's Mountain coming out of the northwest, and it would just fly through the stratosphere and land on Chester. Chester was the next hill, and boy, oh man, there would be times, I swear, the curtains in our house would be standing out like that. Here'd be the window, here'd be the curtain. Normally the curtain's like this. Not when the wind was blowing. And yeah, very drafty house. Thank heaven we didn't have oil prices like back like we do now. And see my father heading off to the poorhouse, or his fifth job to pay the heating bill. But so, and then you'd walk with that wind at your back. Didn't feel too bad because, there's no buttons on the back and everything, and you could put your hood up. Okay. And then you'd walk out, it was about 150 yards across the field. And then what you'd do is you had to cross Fairmount Road. You're almost there. You'd hop off the out of the field and down a little embankment, which gave you a little bit of respite from the icy wind. And then you'd look a couple ways and cross Fairmount Road. That might not even be plowed yet by the time we're up running to go sleigh riding. And then what you had to do is you ran across Fairmount Road. There was just, I think it was about a 2-foot embankment, something like that. And you had to scrunch under some barbed wire and an electric wire. For keeping the cows in. Mr. Guerin was a dairy farmer for pretty much. I don't know if he actually planted crops. And then once you got under the barbed wire, and usually one of us, you should see, you could tell the kids in school who went sleigh riding at Guerin's Hill, they had barbed wire tears in the back of their coats. And some had Band-Aids on their neck, where they stood up a little too soon. And, I know, no one thought about getting a tetanus shot. But no one got tetanus. Yeah. So you'd go a little bit you'd have about another, about 25, 30 yards to go. Again, the wind that you're just howling. And there you'd be, and stretched before you was Guerin's Hill. It was a downhill run from there. I'd say the hill, if memory serves me right, the hill was probably somewhere between 50 and 100 feet high. From the summit to the valley below, the field below, I'd say 75 feet. Okay? But it stretched out on an angle, a good, nice, steep angle, and I imagine your downhill run, off the top of my head, I'd say was 100 yards. Certainly a football field length, maybe a little longer. And then it was slightly sloped in the field below, and you got a little bit more, but eventually friction would take over, or you'd stop your sled because you're just going, like that instead of like that, right? and people would say, well, where was Mr. Guerin through all this? Wasn't he chasing you kids, with a shotgun or something? What are you doing out in this field? It's funny, but I don't think I ever saw Mr. Guerin. He'd see us. I guess you did see him on occasion, but he never came over or anything. He never said, hey, you kids, get the heck out of my fields. What are you doing here? God. No, I think one of our friends must have spoken with him, or maybe a parent, I don't know, but word was pretty much out. It was okay to sleigh ride at Guerin's Hill in that particular field. If the field had cows in it, no, he didn't want just sleigh riding there. That was the word. So you check, you didn't see any cows. Okay, big deal. The cows were in the other field, closer to the barn, right? And I think he was perfectly fine with you being out there. No one ever thought of, if you fractured your arm or, ripped your leg off or something on some barbed wire. Yeah, that was your problem, right? What are you being so stupid for? Yeah, why'd you try standing on your toboggan? As it's going 40 miles an hour down the hill, idiot. Yeah. But I don't think I ever saw the man. Now that I think about it, but kids did ask, and he said, hey, go ahead, kids, knock yourselves out, have a ball. Okay. And, God, we used to, I know in one case we made a spot about halfway down the hill where we dug out some dirt and then pushed the dirt we dug out to be a lump at the downhill end of the hole. And if you really had nerve and, you'd hit that, it was enough, the lump was like that, not like that. Okay. And you'd hit that and it would put you airborne. Yeah, so that was the jump, right. And then I think we made a second jump. once you hit that jump, you hit another jump. If you had real nerve, you'd take a double jump. Right. And of course, we'd pack sometimes 8 guys on a sled. Yeah, yeah. Maybe a 4-foot long sled. Bingo. My toboggan, when I finally got that toboggan for Christmas, oh man, we had the best time with that because that darn toboggan was murder. Absolute murder. What we'd do so fast, we'd mush down the snow. Yeah, for the sleds, for the runner sleds. We'd mush down the snow real careful like. And we'd actually spend time doing that. We'd walk, if you were looking down on us, our feet, and say this was our ankles, we'd walk like this, down the hill. Me on one side, a friend, maybe Joe on the other, my brother in the middle, and we'd walk like that down the hill. And if you did that, you packed the snow down. Now, and we'd leave it alone that day, but we'd let like when we were at school later, a day or so later, the sun would beat down on that spot we mushed. And then it would freeze by afternoon as the sun started to set. And you had basically an ice run. And honest to Pete, I think one kid broke the sound barrier. That or it might have just been him screaming, for it to slow down. I don't know, but you'd really go. And there was no way you could walk up that run. Yeah. No, you'd get almost up to the top and then you'd go back down. I'm not kidding. Oh, it was so much fun. And then we made like a toboggan run that was more or less snow pushed up as like hedgerows that went parallel to each other and just enough room for the toboggan. And we kind of mushed that down too. And that way you kind of, it was almost like being in a bobsled. Yeah, a bobsled run. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes, boy, there were times you'd just be amazed how fast you could go and the fun we had. God love a duck. And except for, I think, blasting into barbed wire now and then, or maybe getting run over by one of your friends on a sled, or maybe a minor case of 20% frostbite or something. It was all good, clean fun. Yeah. Oh, we had such a good time. Good old Mr. Guerin. And again, like I said, never a problem. Nowadays, oh my gosh, you'd have 8 lawyers out there chasing you down the hill, right? Yeah, but not back then. Not back then. What else was there? Oh gosh, there was. There was one day we went to Guerin's Hill. There had been an ice storm, and it evidently it closed school for quite a while. So because the power was out. Yeah. Trees hit the wires, good night nurse. So I think we were out for like 2 or 3 days. But so on the very first day, we go out to Guerin's Hill. We're slipping and sliding. The snow was all crusty. But I remember saying to my brother Ed, I said, look at this. We're not, usually you don't break through the crusty snow, but I'm not even breaking through it. Look at this. I'm like 30 pounds heavier than you. Ed says, I don't know what's it. He's slipping. And we didn't make any tracks as we're going across the long field, the approach field. And we get to Guerin's Hill. We're standing at the top of the hill, myself and a few friends. And one of our friends, I turned to talk to him, and we don't see him. Yeah, he's sliding down the hill. Somehow the ice got him. And he's like this going, yeah, he's doing about 40 miles an hour on his back. Yeah, spinning like this. Oh, and we're, and I think he hit a fence post. Yeah. And, oh, God, you guys. Oh, and so we make an emergency run down to go see how he's doing. And, gosh, we darn near run over him. You couldn't control your sled. It spun out of control. The ice on the hill was something like 1.5 inches thick from the storm and the subsequent freeze. And now we're all down there. Our friends, he says, God, I think I broke at least 5 ribs. Oh, God. But we can't get back up. Oh, we're clawing our way up. Eventually what we had to do, you took the sled and you ran as fast as you could, and you got up maybe 5 feet, which meant you only had 300 feet to go, and you'd lock the sled, and then and oh gosh, you just claw your way up the hill. It was almost impossible, and one false move and back down you went. We never had so much fun in all our lives. It was, although we were getting a little worried we might not show up for supper. I mean, the folks knew where we were. I guess they could throw down a line and pull us up. But yeah. Oh, God. I wonder, I don't imagine Mr. Guerin's around anymore. That was a long time ago now. But I wonder if he ever took movies of us. Huh? Oh, that would have been so cool. Now and then a cow would get out. It would break through the fencing and get into the sleigh riding field, and that darn cow would be chasing you down the hill. Yeah. Oh, I tell you, that'll open your old eyes. You look back behind you, riding your sled, and here comes a cow, chasing after you, snorting fire. Oh my God. And then the worst thing though was, once you were all done, of course your clothes were soaking wet, but you were on the sunny side of the hill, protected from the north wind. Yeah. To go home, when you finally decide, okay, that's it. Number one, it was night by then. Yeah, your flashlights were running dry. So what you had to do was walk over. When you finally crested the hill and faced that wind, the wind was blowing on you so darn hard, 20, 30 miles an hour, and just nothing but ice. Oh God! And it was all you could do to get home. And of course, my poor kid brother Ed, his shoes are all, he's like ice. We get him into the house, he's screaming, and frankly, I'm not feeling that too good either. It's all you can do to get your shoes and boots off, and your toes hurt like someone's just put them in a vice, and your skin's burning from the wind. But doggone, that fried chicken Mom made sure made it all go away. Or whatever she had cooking. Maybe it was spaghetti. A lot of times on snow days it would be spaghetti. Oh, yeah. Fix you right up. Yes, sir. And then it was just a night of watching TV because no one gave you any darn homework. Oh, yeah. It was, it was good times. It was good times. Anyway, good old Mr. Guerin. Oh, bless his heart. So nice to let us just go there and, yeah. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I'll see you later, friends. Thank you. Another Chester memory for you. I hope your memories of your town are just as good. Okay. See you later. Bye now. God bless.